Sentry mode activated. Target acquired.
Hey there hunters, and welcome back to the Gunners Guild. We got a lot to cover today regarding the relics from the Jafar raid, so let's just get into it. I don't want to be making a video for every fucking weapon, so let's just dump it all into one. So let's start on some clarifications with the relic system based on what we had guessed earlier. First is the mods and the values. Here's a list of mods and all their values from what we can choose as from a gunner. They mostly do exactly what you expect them to do, but there are some limitations. First, that the set bonus is one piece, thank god, dude, stuff would be crazy if it was full set. Second is that for Bogans, you cannot put two Bogan mods in at the same time. Recoil, Reload, and Deviation are all limited to one, and not one of each, one of those three. So no Recoil and Reload mods at the same time. That face. You can stack ammo mods though, granted I'm not sure why anyone would do that, but you certainly can. Second is there are 6-star mods. Now we only get one 6-star mod per weapon, which they had never mentioned, but that's a cool surprise. The only way to get a level 6 mod is to have the level 5 version first, and then when you roll there's a chance you'll get to level 6. Basically though, any mod that has a numerical value can get a 6-star version, so no, we're not getting any recoil or reload ones, but we do get ammo capacities as level 6s. That's basically it, to be honest. Everything else works exactly as you imagined. Oh, also don't forget you can trade in your materials for new relics at the melder. Holy fucking shit, thank god. No more hoarding materials like Colv. Very nice addition. Okay, with that out of the way, let's just get into the weapons, starting with bows. As you can imagine, bow is basically all the same. They all have the exact same stats, same elemental values, same coatings. Basically here, we're just stacking element, to literally no one's surprise. The bows end up at 590 element, which is basically a little bit higher than what we had previously. Now you can drop that for an infinity augment if you want, but that's basically it. For the most part, all the bows have the same value as the Glavenus bow. Thunder pretty much got the biggest upgrade here thanks to all that extra raw, but losing boosted paracoats still hurts. It still might not be worth the trade in some fights. Everything else here is pretty much just marginally better. You can run Volcana Divinity Awakened if you want to use one piece of Volcana to run crit element, which is still a 1.4 times modifier, and then 3 pieces of the Safi set bonus. Now, Tasty tested this set against Teostra, and typically rapids hit for about 88 and spreads hit for 96, whereas our true crit setup hits slightly higher at 88 rapids and 98 spreads. Not a significant jump, to be honest. They're pretty dang equal. Now, full Safi set is also good at 89 for rapids and 94 for spreads. They're all pretty dang close. Now, Safi set has the added bonus of you not having to worry about crits because you're not running crit element at all. Granted, it also does come with 40% crit and crit boost anyway, so you might as well finish that off just to buff your raw portion. Now, this set looks better on paper against like the training pull because the resentment and the high raw values of the pull, but in practice, the true critical elements sets are just slightly better. Other than that, nothing really changed on bows. We're pretty much doing everything as we were before, but we get a few more points of element. Now for the memes, I also made the blast bow with status crit and 3 pieces of Safi. It's kind of funny, it does a lot of blast, like a fuck ton of blast. I doubt it's going to be all that effective, but Jafar is weak to blast. Wondering if that's going to work out. I mean, this thing's got like 670 blasts when you factor in crit status. It's kind of crazy, but whatever, it's still probably terrible. Now for the heavy bowguns, of which there are 5, 3 of them are raw focused and 2 are elemental. Now the 2 elemental ones basically carry 2 different elemental MOs, so you get like all 4 on 2 bowguns. And the elemental bowguns here are nothing special, like they have the exact same reload and recoil levels as our other ones. But with the elemental MO mod we can attach to it, we have clip 12 with elemental MO, which is kind of crazy, I guess. Now, elemental heavy bowgun is still not my favorite thing, and the base 250 raw on these things is not really wanting to make me jump into that anytime soon. But for the raw side, here's heavy bowgun. The sniper is ultimately a worse Tobi Kadachi, unfortunately. It has slightly lower raw and the same clip sizes and basically no supportive ammo. The only thing this does have is the option to run recoil 1 and fast reload, which is pretty cool. Otherwise, it's basically ends up being the same gun. They do hit for the same if you run damage mods, but honestly, it's kind of hard to make good use of damage mods on Pierce. So having fast reload's also not a bad option. Either way is going to work. So it's a side grade for sure, but it's solid enough. For this bowgun, I did use Nargacuga Essence instead of another attack augment because the Nargacuga helmet synergizes with Pierce bowguns very well, and then you only need one more piece to have true spare shot. This also frees up the charm slot, so it's a pretty good trade. I'm not sure how much of this heavy bowgun I'm going to be using, but I feel like the fast reload is actually going to help a lot with evading attacks. So let's move on to the normal 3 heavy bowgun. To be honest, this thing looks pretty bad on paper. It's base 250 raw, comparing against Ruiner Nergs like 310 or something like that. Not looking good. Now what this does have though is a clip size 10 on normal 3s on Recoil 1, which is pretty great. Again, like the other bowgun, you can get fast reload here, but honestly you really need those close range mods. Funny enough, the bowgun hits exactly the same as Ruiner Nergs with 3 close range mods on. So basically this functions exactly the same as Ruiner Nerg's bowgun, except that it has 3 more rounds in the chamber and no status ammo. So while not a direct stat increase, it's still got a nice buff to normals with the extra clip size. The biggest downfall here is that bait and switch with the raw that they showed us with the dev diary. Bowguns before were showing 270 base raw, and now they're starting out with 250. So we basically lost 20 raw or 2 of those awakened augments, and this would have been so much better if it had 20 more raw, because it actually would have beaten Ruiner Nergs. Now for spread, which is the only thing anyone ever cares about, we do have a direct upgrade to Glutton here. It's not significant, but this thing basically gives you 5% more affinity, and then your choice of either 10 more raw, or another mod slot to have over Zinogre's heavy bowgun. The slot will allow you to run 3 shield mods, a close range mod, and a scope, which is great for those shield builds, or you can forgo the reload mod and just run more attack. That's basically it. Everything else is pretty much the same. The status ammo is kind of a joke with the low clip sizes and bad recoil. Probably not going to use those very much. And the bowgun does have Wyvern Heart, which is good if you're going to use it, but the deviation on this is crazy high. Plus, people have been taking a liking to the Stygians heavy bowgun because it has Wyvern Snipe, which is a much faster attack for tenderizing. Honestly, I can see people using the Stygian Zinogre over this because they're basically the same, other than the fact that this one can run better shield setups. So if you want to run shields, go this one. Otherwise, Stygian for no shield and getting good tenderizes is probably the way to go. But the Zinogre heavy bowgun is officially dead. Also, you don't have to pay too much attention to the sets here. They're not final. I'm just kind of messing around with stuff for now. However, the Safi set is pretty good on its own, even with raw weapons like Glutton. Not only is a free affinity really nice, but you can also effectively make use of resentment as well, which is basically 7 more raw over running attack augments. It's not perfect yet, but this certainly works. Also, we didn't get a new cluster or sticky heavy bowgun. I mean, technically we did, but the raw is so low on those, you basically have to run all 5 attack awakened mods just to get it up to Zora's level. Then you just have worse status ammo at that point, so there's no real point. Because unfortunately, we didn't get any cluster or sticky ammo increases, so, rip that. I mean, that's fine though, we didn't need a new one. So finally, let's get into the light bowguns, and we got a lot here. First, let me lead with, I'm very annoyed that we cannot put elemental awaken mods on bowguns. Now you can put normal element augments on them and custom element augments, so why not awakens? Anyway, all the elemental bowguns are pretty good, except Dragon. Dragon's a piece of shit, as it always is. Don't look at that thing, throw it away. Never pick up the Dragon one. Now these all have the same stats, so you end up running elemental rapid fire with recoil 2 and normal reload. And you do have a free mod slot which you can use for countermines at least, so yay. The only weird exception to this is water. For whatever reason, water gets recoil 1 on slow reload. And I'll take this any day over recoil 2 and normal reload. Now what makes these bowguns good is that they have clip sizes of 7 on their elemental ammo, which is great for rapid fire, especially on the slow reload recoil 1, because you're not going to be reloading all that often. Now this isn't a direct buff and new meta for elemental bowguns because we still have the single shot recoil 1 and fast reloads, which is much better DPS on paper over the recoil 2 rapid fires. However, ammo is always going to be an issue with the single shots, not with the rapid fires. The only direct upgrade here is the water bowgun because it basically is our first rapid fire recoil 1 element bowgun. That and these do have mod slots to play around, so at least we have an extra one to run countermines or something else. Now everything else is fine, bigger clip sizes and stuff, but that's ultimately it. Now for the sets, Safi seems to be the best for elemental bowguns. The low base element of the ammo gets a huge boost with that 150 free from the Safi set. Now true critical multiplier is only a 1.4 for light bowguns, So it makes sense that the Safi is a bit better when you can actually add 150 directly to the base values and then add on top of that. Now running 3-piece Safi and crit element is kind of in between the two. It's better than true crit, but not quite as good as the full Safi set. So it's probably easier just to stick with full Safi since you don't have to worry about the bulk of your damage critting, which is great for the pierce aspect of element since those are usually not exploitable hit zones anyways. All that flat element is just going to go right on through. Not a huge boost in damage here, but more damage is more damage, especially on the elemental Bogans, and they definitely need it. Now the Horizon Light Bogan is going to be so much fun with the Safi set, that's for sure, because you can prevent yourself from killing yourself with the special ammo by putting on a health augment. Granted, that nullifies your ability to run heroics, but trades. So for the raw side of Light Bogans, we did get some new options too. The Water Light Bogan also gets used for stickies. Unfortunately, while it can get Recoil 1 on Sticky 3, which is fucking amazing, you'd be sitting at very slow reload, or like with 1 evade to reload mod, which is just awful. It's still better to run Recoil 2 and 2 evade reload mods. On the plus side, we can slot in Nargacuga Essence and finally be able to run True Spare Shot and Artillery 5. So while the Ra's not as good as Rajang, it's actually still tied with Garuga's, but having both True Spare Shot and Artillery basically makes this best of both worlds, so it's basically the go-to sticky bowgun from now on. It does also have really good status ammo support as well. So woohoo, better stickies, that's what everyone wanted, right? Also, you do have a free mod slot so you can run counter mines, which I'm pretty excited to try out. We finally get to stack a bunch of raw on a bowgun, and that makes it perfect for counter mines. However, be careful of the sticky cap. We basically reached a damage cap of stickies with peak and some other attacks, so the agitator here is probably a bit overkill. I need to put KO on it or something, but also don't worry about rapid fire sticky 2s, it's terrible. So the Thunder Light Bowgun is going to be the new go-to Pierce Light Bowgun. It's got a clip 9 on Pierce 2, which is fucking crazy, especially because it's got Recoil 1 on that. Now you do have the option to run fast reload here as well, or you can run 2 close range mods. Not really sure which one I'd pick, to be honest. The damage mods aren't easy to maintain on Pierce, but they're definitely going to be better than reload if you can keep that up. Again, I picked the Nargacuga Essence here because Pierce just works with it. Plus this way I have to reload even less, which makes those close range mods even more valuable. So this one's a pretty solid upgrade. Now Frostlight Bowgun becomes the new Spread 2. Basically the same stats as the Pierce Bowgun, but with Spread 2 instead. 9 clip Spread 2 is basically heavy bowgun territory. This is now true mini glutton. You definitely want the close range mods here to make this thing hit harder than Bayo Totus. I mean, it's only 2 or 3 damage more a pellet over Bayo, but with the extra clip sizes, kinda makes it better than Bayo, even with all those status emos it had. Now, while this is the new Spread 2 Light Bogan, that does not make it the new overall Spread Light Bogan. Stygians Spread 3 on Recoil 1 and 2 close range mod still hits like a truck. Yes, it has slow reload, trust me, it's worth it. Now for reference, Spread 2s on this thing hit the pull for about 38 times 5, so it's a total of like 190 damage. Spread 3s hit for 38 by 7, which is 260, so that's like 75 more damage a shot. So it does a bit more damage. Yes, the clip sizes will factor in, but also Stygian is running True Spare Shot, so its clip 3 is more like it's going to average about a clip 5. However, this is still a good upgrade, and it's putting Spread 2s closer to Spread 3 territory, which is actually pretty scary considering the motion value difference. So I choose not to run True Spare Shot here, because clip 9 is basically large enough, it's not going to make that much of a difference. The 10 extra raw is going to be a better choice in my eye. And finally, for normals, well, rip normals. Dragonlight Bogan has rapid fire normals, but it's just fucking terrible. Comes nowhere near what support used to be. So don't worry about it, sadly. Also, all the level 3 raw MOs for Light Bowguns didn't really get anything fantastic. Most of them are basically the same or worse than what we already had, so, whatever. So that's all the gunner weapons. So I have some final notes. Now for the Safi armor, you definitely want to run Spare Shot. It takes 10 hits to heal off the Safi damage of bowguns, and when you have clips of like 8 or 9, that means you'll always have to reload before you can heal yourself, which can put you in some pretty bad spots. So I'd always recommend Spare Shot here so you can get those extra hits in before you have to reload just to heal off your life. Next, no elemental augment on bowguns, kinda blows. Also, not being able to put a recoil and a reload mod on a bowgun also kinda blows. Now we still also have the same ammo archetypes for bowguns, which annoys me a lot. There's so many other possibilities out there that we just aren't getting, like auto reload spread 3 light Bogan, rapid fire element 1s besides water now, rapid fire slice, rapid fire status, heavy Bogan with great normal 3s, well, anything to get rid of the glutton meta really. Bows basically didn't get anything, just a little more element, kind of a letdown. I was hoping for something like some empowered status coats besides poison, like empowered sleep or empowered blast, whatever. I'm glad we didn't get like fucking crazy OP shit, but what Gunners did get was basically exactly what we had before, but with like slightly more element for bows, or 2 to 3 more rounds in a clip for bowguns, and that's fine. No gunner is going to complain about more ammo. I'm just saying that there could have been actually like new stuff rather than just the same stuff we already had, but with a slight numerical increase. Ultimately, the relics are good. It's not the kind of power creep that basically invalidates anything going forward at this point, but man, I really hope you like that Jafar fight because you're going to be doing it a lot. So I'm going to post all my updated sets in the description below, and I'll post it on the Twitter and all that stuff. But yeah, that's basically all the new meta changes and stuff. So thank you all for watching, and good luck out there, hunters, and whatever you may be hunting.